Every system possesses a definitive operational threshold. When that threshold is violated, structural integrity degrades. Most individuals believe that speaking louder or speaking more frequently ensures comprehension. In the Codex, we recognize this as the primary transmission fault. Welcome back to the archives. Let us analyze the structural breakdown known as systemic submission. When you attempt to force an invading agent to understand your perimeter, your processing engine enters a state of hyper-acceleration. You are no longer merely stating a rule. You are exporting raw cognitive fuel, converting your internal peace into external arguments. Data overproduction does not secure your wall. It drains your reserve tanks. Let us isolate the initial event, the baseline instruction. When a system boundary is first breached, the correct protocol dictates a single, clear, low-frequency transmission. It requires no emotional amplification. It is a clean architectural statement, a closed gate. Observe the reaction of the malicious entity. They do not fail to comprehend your transmission. They simulate ignorance. By pretending the signal was distorted, they force your console to emit a secondary stream. This is the deviation vector. They are baiting your engine into an unnecessary processing loop. Protocol 1, single transmission execution. You must lock down the communication valves immediately after the first broadcast. The Codex dictates that clarity is achieved in the first instance. Anything thereafter is a structural compromise. If the invading agent requests further processing data, the interface must return an absolute void. Understand the environment you are operating within. Malicious agents do not seek resolution. They seek exhaustion. They understand that if they can force you to restate your baseline 5, 10, or 20 times, your neural engine will eventually experience systemic burnout. They play the long game of wear and tear. Every time you repeat a boundary, you are validating their right to question it. You are rewriting your absolute law into a negotiable suggestion. The repetition trap turns a high-status sovereign architecture into an administrative dispute. Break the loop before the lever snaps. Let us measure the exact cost of a single argument. Your system requires massive quantities of cognitive fuel to maintain emotional composure during a breach. When you waste this resource explaining obvious human decencies, you deplete the reserves required to optimize your own life archives. You are bankrupting your laboratory to educate a parasite. Do not fall victim to the illusion of the comprehension gap. They do not need you to explain it better. They do not need a different choice of words. They heard the transmission perfectly the first time. Their simulated confusion is simply a crowbar designed to pry open your system defenses. Submission does not occur all at once. It is a progressive structural failure. It begins the exact moment you allow an external entity to make you repeat an order. By compliance, you accept their premise that your baseline requires their permission to exist. You have crossed the submission threshold. The ultimate countermeasure is the cold architecture of non-engagement. When an invading agent requests a secondary explanation, your interface must become an unread ledger, a stone monument that reflects no heat, offers no data, and provides zero emotional feedback. Let their chaos break against your absolute stillness. You must restrict your internal data ingest matrix. Stop treating every external inquiry as a mandatory task for your processing console. If an entity has proven to be an unverified or malicious agent, their access tokens are voided. They no longer possess the authorization to trigger your vocal processors. When you stop repeating your boundaries, you sever their feedback loop. Manipulators feed on your reactions. They study how you look when you are frustrated. They measure the shaking in your transmission. A law of physics does not negotiate with an object falling through the air. It simply operates. Your boundaries must possess that same cold physical certainty. It is not an opinion, it is the architecture. Recalibrate your cognitive filters to reject low-status interactions. If an external signal requires you to degrade your self-respect to answer it, the filter must catch it and discard it as waste fluid. Your processing cycles are too valuable to be spent on unmonetizable communication. Do not fall into the intellectual trap of believing you can persuade a parasite through logic. They do not want to understand your rules. They want to see if your rules can be bent by their persistent noise. Implement the protocol of administrative silence. When an agent intentionally violates a clear boundary, do not issue an emotional correction. Issue an immediate data blackout. Remove your presence, your words, and your attention from their grid. Silence is the heaviest structural block you can drop. Run an immediate audit on your exhaust valves. Identify the specific relationships and environments where you find yourself constantly re-explaining your worth. These are structural leaks. They are draining your voltage and dropping your systemic efficiency. Seal the pipes or scrap the line completely. When you refuse to repeat your boundary, you create a reactionary vacuum. The invading agent will escalate their noise. They will accuse you of being cold, unreasonable, or distant. Let them scream into the vacuum. A storm cannot rage if there is no air to carry the sound waves. Maintain the void. Examine the historical data logs of your interactions. If an agent has forced you to state the same boundary 3 times over a 6-month cycle, they are not experiencing a processing delay. They are executing a persistent cybernetic attack on your psychological fortress. Treat them as a permanent system threat. Sovereign architecture does not ask for permission to stand. It simply occupies space. Your rules of engagement are the terms upon which external forces may experience your presence. If they cannot operate within those strict parameters, they are automatically ejected from the territory. Raise the iron plates. You do not owe anyone an education on how to treat you. Disengage from the false emotional debt that tells you you must be patient with continuous disrespect. Patience with an invader is simply slow-motion structural suicide. Cut the chain and let them drop into the void. Let the distance between you and unoptimized environments become an unbridgeable chasm. Do not attempt to build bridges with extra explanations. If they wish to cross into your archive, they must construct their own alignment tools. If they cannot, let them remain on the far side of the divide. You have chosen to stand as a monolith. Your systems are balanced. Your vocal processors are quiet. Your cognitive reserves are completely full, locked away inside your inner vault. You have realized that power is not found in winning the argument. It is found in refusing to enter the courtroom. The system is locked. The perimeter is secured. The data transmission has ceased. The moment of absolute clarity you feel right now isn't a temporary state. It is a validated output. Stop sacrificing your biological infrastructure on the altar of repetition. Trust the engine. Refine the archive. I am the curator. You're welcome to the Somatic Codex YouTube channel.